You are listening to the Brand Architect Podcast, and this is your host, Ani Alexander.
Hello, hey there, and welcome to the Brand Architect Podcast. I'm really happy that you're back, and I'm very happy that you're listening to the show. Today, I have a very exciting interview. I have discovered an amazing platform which does value original and good quality content and which enables you to make money, and I mean real money, by producing content. So it's something which hasn't been known yet. It's something that is emerging and growing, and it's an amazing place. I personally tried it out. I'm there since 2 weeks. It's replacing most of my time that I have been spending on social media because this place is so much better. I'm talking about Steemit. And in order to find out more details and get credible information and make you realize how it works and what are the opportunities for you on that, you being content creators, I did an interview with Steemit community liaison. His name is Andrew Levine. He's a really cool guy, and I'm sure that he will explain everything you need to know about Steemit in this interview, and I really hope to see you there because, as I said, it's really an awesome place to be. So let's start and move to the interview. Today, we're going to talk about Steemit. And I know that the first reaction I'm going to get is, what the hell is Steemit? So I'll just start with that question. Andrew Levine is working at Steemit, and I'm sure that he can briefly explain what it is for the beginning, and then we can dive into more details. And I'll explain why I decided to cover that topic specifically.
Sure. Yeah. First of all, thanks for arranging this. I'm excited to do the interview and talk about Steemit. And the truth is that Steemit is lots of things. There are lots of ways that it can be described. I think the simplest way to explain it is that it's a combination of Reddit.com and Medium.com, a blogging platform / content sharing platform, except that it pays people for the content that they share on the platform, and it does so without requiring that they pay anything to participate, and it does so without taking anything out of your wallet in order to do so. So it's totally free to use, and yet it still rewards people in money, and the way that it does that is by leveraging new technology called cryptocurrencies, which a lot of people are hearing about more now. But the essence of it is that the important part isn't the cryptocurrency. That's just a means to an end. We use that to enable people to monetize their content.
Okay, so this is very interesting, and that's why I wanted to touch the subject in general, is because these days we have so many content creators who have the biggest challenge of gaining visibility, of finding their audiences. They all have a message to share, but they can't stand out. They can't get the attention they deserve. And obviously, it's getting harder and harder to stand out there. So obviously, these days, whenever something new comes out and is not yet so crowded, it's always easier to start there and gain that visibility. So let's talk about numbers, like how many people are using the platform at this stage, because I know that I've heard about it for quite a while, for over a year, but I know it's not something that is really well known in masses. So it's relatively new for now still, and it's not something that everyone is talking about. So what are we, having over there? How many users, and how does it work? What are the plans for the future as well?
Sure. Well, as of now, we have between 50,000 and 100,000 daily active users. but that is growing quite rapidly. So that's actually a much tougher question than it sounds, because we're not a traditional social media platform, because when you sign up for Steemit.com, you get a bank account with a small amount of seed capital, basically. That's a hard problem to solve. So we've been steadily improving our sign-up process and decreasing the costs of sign-up to us, because it's always free for everybody to join. But there's a cost to the network, basically. And one of the biggest problems with Steemit is it's hard not to start talking about highly technical issues, because the fact of the matter is that the social network itself is built into a blockchain, is built into a technology called Steem that was also created by the same team, that is a direct descendant of Bitcoin, of the Bitcoin blockchain protocol. So except that the Bitcoin blockchain protocol is a simple list of transactions, whereas the Steem protocol is a list of token transactions and content. So we store all of our content in a distributed, decentralized ledger. And that is also the protocol that handles the distribution of tokens. So it's highly technical. The truth is, you don't have to understand any of this stuff to start posting, to start participating, and to start making money. And to get back to the question of how many people are using it, well, it's around 60,000 a day now, a few 100,000 members. But what I would say is that the question isn't how many people are using it. It's going to be millions within the year, within 2 years. The question is the value per user. That's really what you want to know as a content creator. And the users of Steem are probably they're orders of magnitude more valuable than users on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, because the value of the average the value of the average social media user is $0. It's zero. Like, and that's only partly because many of them are not real people, they're bots. Whereas the average user on Steemit is more than $0. So the game of Steemit is join, post high quality content, and gain high quality followers. Because the truth is that, so on Steemit, how much I direct funds to you from the printing press. So I've been on Steemit for a year. I've been posting a lot. I've accumulated a lot of Steem power. That's one of the forms of money on the platform. And what that means is that when I upvote your content, more funds get distributed from the printing press to you. That's how we solve the problem of charging people for participating, is that funds get directed from the printing press, not from out of our wallet. And the way you regulate that without creating hyperinflation is making sure that the funds are getting directed to the most valuable people. And so I've earned stake. I've proven that I'm a good producer of value and evaluator of value. And so when I upvote stuff, it earns a lot of rewards. And so to give you an idea, somebody posted a woman who spent some time with her family homeless yesterday posted an article, and it's really well written. I mean, it's horrifying to read a well-written account of a homeless person and think, man, that could be me. So I don't think she had a significant following at all. But the post quickly started doing well, and by the time I got to it, it had earned $700 in one day. The dynamics on Steemit are completely different than other social media. Quality does much better on Steemit. because there's money, because people don't want to reward things that aren't high quality because they know it's getting money, even though it's not their money.
Okay, so let's go backwards and start.
One last thing. So when I upvoted her content, because it had already accumulated a lot of upvotes, and by the time I got to it and upvoted it, my upvote alone gave it something like $50. So so I wanted to make that point because it shows how it doesn't so much matter how many upvotes you get as much as who the upvotes come from.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I totally get that. So let's start from the beginning. So let's say I have a Steemit account. It's brand new. Obviously, I don't have followers. It's empty. I'm starting populating it. First of all, let's mention that the content can be in pretty much any form. So it can be a video, it can be writing, it can be any pictures, photos, whatever you have, whatever you're creating. Do you have any statistics in terms of which format of content is doing best, or there's no trend like that?
I think we don't have any data on that, but it's fairly obvious when you go to the trending page that it tends to be cryptocurrency centric stuff. But we have artists who do very well. We have writers who do very well. There's a writer named Eric Vance Walton who basically leveraged the platform to bootstrap a book. The problem with looking at what does well is there tends to be some self-reinforcing aspects to it. So people see cryptocurrency posts doing well, and they tend to pile on and create a lot of posts like that. My personal view on this, I think it's so complicated that the beauty of it is that it allows the human brain to really flourish because it's so difficult to analyze the data that you really have to use your pattern recognition skill. But as far as my analysis goes, as somebody who's on the team, but who also began as a content creator and worked their way up from the bottom, I didn't buy into the system at all. If you want to accelerate your rate of progress, you can buy Steam Power. But I didn't do that. I don't recommend people do that. I think it's actually very healthy to solve the problems yourself. And the best pattern I have seen is come in, definitely leverage those skills you've learned using Instagram and Facebook and all of that, but then focus on quality. Focus on quality, and also, if you don't find that the people on Steemit are responding to your content, but you have people respond on other platforms, bring them into Steemit. Because then their upvotes acquire value. And so that's part of the beauty of the platform, is that if you create quality and if people recognize that quality somewhere, you can monetize it. But I do believe that quality content is what gets the best reward. And when you see people piling onto something, I think that's a really good sign that you can do something else and set yourself apart. Like what I did was I created video. I started making videos, and that just meant putting the videos on YouTube and embedding them in the Steemit post. And that's how I was able to distinguish myself at a time when a lot of people had already come to dominate the platform, even though it was very early. It happens in waves. And that's how I was able to distinguish myself. It was by seeing what people were doing and then doing something different and higher quality than what I was perceiving.
Okay, so let's say we're starting out, we have an account, we are creating quality content. How do we make sure that people who are already on Steemit discover us and find out about us and actually see what we have produced so far?
Sure, that's a really good question. They're engaging, interacting within the comments of Steemit are a good way of doing things. It has we call it like the small town on the internet. It has a very community-centric feel to it. The comments can also earn rewards. They do earn rewards. there are no barriers that need to be met except accumulating the right upvotes. So any comment can make money. And so you can earn money in commenting, but it's also a good way for interacting with content creators.
Definitely want to urge people not to ask people to upvote and follow them. The best strategy is to find people whose content you find valuable. Do not go after the people with the most followers and just try. Like, Steemit is a different animal. What I love so much about it is that it rewards quality. It rewards genuine engagement. And so you have to change. It flips the model. You have to change the way you look at social media. You can't look at it as the horror show that is Instagram and Facebook, where the goal is to get millions of followers just so that you can sell your users to advertisers. You can start monetizing much, much earlier, and you can monetize based on quality. So you really have to embrace that and ask yourself, what is the most valuable content that I can create? Not what is going to be the most viral, So you really have to dive deep into yourself, figure out what you're most passionate about, what you're most knowledgeable about, create content on that, and then create content based on that, and then find the people who you find to be creating the most value, engage with them, and become friends with them. That's really what Steemit is about. It's about finding people from all over the world, becoming friends with them. And because the platform is by default anonymous, that actually has this weird dynamic of making it easier to put yourself out there and become genuine friends with people, because you're befriending them without divulge. The problem is you make a friend on Facebook and that's like something Facebook knows about you, and like there's this push and pull on traditional social media where the more you put yourself out there, the more somebody else owns you. So yeah, I think that's the best answer I can give to that question.
Okay, so I think the most confusing thing here is it sounds awesome. And I mean, everyone, especially like creative people who have been creating content on regular basis anyway, for them, it's like, dream come true to be paid for just doing what they love, basically. And there hasn't been an ideal place to do that yet. So the tricky question I'm getting from people who discuss Steemit is, where does the money come from? And, because I know it's technical, but it is something that immediately comes, is this some kind of scheme? Is it, how come you're being paid just for writing words or just for sort of, recording a video? And if it was so easy and nice, why other platforms aren't doing that?
Sure.
So where is the money coming from?
Sure. Well, so there's lots of ways to answer that. And I obviously get this question quite a lot. And it's a great question. It's the right question. I want to start at the end of what you said. If it's so easy and nice, it's not easy. It's not easy at all. First of all, it's not easy to make money on Steemit. Like I said, you have to create quality content. You have to engage with people. You have to find people who are creating value and prove to them that you create value. It's not easy at all. And as far as the technical issues of solving these problems, also not easy at all. The team built an entire protocol from scratch using completely state-of-the-art technology to solve this problem. And to date, not a single other company has figured out how to solve this problem, including other networks kind of like ours, like yours is a platform that the guy worked at Reddit. He was supposed to be in charge of developing a solution like this for Reddit, failed. As far as I know, yours has not yet launched, failure. I think there's one like Akasha or something, failed as far as I know, or, so not easy at all, neither to create the technology nor to make money on it. And a lot of people join, including people who have thousands of followers on other hundreds of thousands now. In fact, we have users now with millions of followers on other social media. And they come and they don't immediately make rewards, and they get they go, why aren't I making lots of rewards? I have millions of followers on Instagram, or hundreds of thousands. Because the people who have millions of users, millions of followers on other social media, tend to do very well very rapidly on Steemit.com, because every user on Steemit.com is a stakeholder, because they hold the crypto. And so they tend to recognize value when they see it. And so if you've got hundreds of thousands of followers, millions of followers, your posts start earning rewards very quickly. But thousands of followers, hundreds of thousands of followers, they might not. And they go, well, why aren't I making lots of rewards on Steemit? Now I have all of these followers. I've spent years building up my following on Instagram. And my answer to them is, yeah, but you don't make anything off of those followers either.
So it's not about the number of followers, it's about the quality of the followers, because we all know many accounts on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook who have thousands and thousands of followers, but how many of them actually consume the content or actually are engaged with the person, that may be a completely different number as opposed to the number of likes or retweets or whatever it is. So I totally get that. Let's talk about content creator. I mean, there are many content creators who are doing stuff already, like podcasters, live streamers, bloggers, who have been producing stuff for years already. Is there any way, is it a good idea to repurpose it or to post it on their Steemit account, or they should think about creating something completely original and new and start from scratch on that platform? Can they use what they've got already?
That's a great question. The answer is yes, they can use what they've already created. Yes, they can use what they already created. Yes, when they do that and then they cater that content to the specific Steemit audience, they tend to do better. So, for example, if you have a video that you did and then you embed that in a Steemit post and then add text giving some background, showing the Steemit audience that you're not there purely to extract rewards from them, but to deliver value to them, those posts tend to do much better. And for some reason, people are really resistant to that. I think because they go, well, I see all these social media platforms all the time, and I have to try them all out, so I can't really commit those kinds of resources. And of course, my answer to them is, okay, well, don't be surprised when you don't make any money on the platform. But I do want to answer a question you asked before, which is where the money comes from, because I don't want your watchers to go, he never answered that question. And the shortest, simplest, most accurate answer to that is that the points that you earn on Steemit.com are Steem cryptocurrency tokens, which are traded on markets, which is where they acquire their value. And so right now, last time I checked, Steem tokens were worth over $2 on multiple markets. And Steemit and any Steem application, including Steemit.com, is always totally free in every way. And so between the fact that the tokens acquire their value on markets and there's zero cost to you, I get not fully understanding where the value of the tokens come from, but I don't really get the harm in signing up, earning them, and then cashing them out on markets.
Well, that's what I did actually, because I was a little bit skeptical about, you hear lots of stories about different platforms and about people writing blog posts or, whatever it is. There's loads of information over there. So I decided before our interview to check it out myself as a newbie. So I didn't really explore it too much. But what I did was I already had an account which I never used, which I may regret later on once I start making money on Steemit. But anyway,
Sorry.
So,
it's never too
a week
late.
ago, it's never too late. Yeah. And that's why we're doing this interview. So whoever is watching, at least gives it a try and have a look and knows that this thing exists. So I actually posted two things about, I don't know, 6 days ago. 6 days ago. Okay. So it says 6 days ago, I repurposed one of the live streams I had on Facebook, which was a discussion, like my thoughts and my questions about why people think that others are, why others are watching your live streams, what is the value in it, what they're looking at, etc. So I just embedded the YouTube video from Facebook Live and wrote just a little bit explaining what it is and where it's from, etc. And I had a one short story, which was part of the compilation and published book, but which is not out there anywhere else. And so 6 days, 14 followers, and each of the posts is valued $2.81. So, it took me basically altogether about 10 minutes to post those two things. I haven't really commented anywhere yet, and I haven't promoted those posts either. So just 10 minutes, and this is the result I'm getting, which sounds pretty awesome, because we definitely spend much more time on Facebook and other social media, and probably produce much more content than I did on Steemit. So these are the real results. That's what I came up with, and I just wanted to share.
Sure, and let me go a little deeper into what happened, in your specific instance and what that all means. And first of all, I know that if you had promoted your post, and it probably would have done better, and done a little legwork. It's good that you made some, and certainly if you'd let me know, I could have helped it do better. But if you use the platform, you'll start doing really well really quickly. Not everybody. But that so
Thank you.
So you made $2.81, right?
Per post, so it's twice that much.
Okay, so one of the ways to look at that is that means that at the very least, you could exchange, you could purchase, you could use that amount of Steem to purchase about $5 worth of Bitcoin, which now everybody kind of understands Bitcoin. Now we love Steem. So we go, you've made $5 worth of Steem. Like, that's going to be worth a lot more in the future because this platform is going to grow and the technology is awesome and all of that. So, stay in Steem. We love it. But if you want to prove to yourself that it's valuable, and we don't want to discourage people from cashing out either. The point is, we want people to be able to support themselves, or at least use this platform as a way of supplementing their income. So directly, it's very, very easy to exchange that Steem for $5 worth of Bitcoin. And now everybody's hearing about Bitcoin and everybody's trying to get involved. And so part of the beauty of our platform is that it's the easiest and cheapest way to invest in cryptocurrencies generally, because cryptocurrencies are very liquid for each other. Now, from there, once you have Bitcoin, using a site like Coinbase.com, that's what I use, or Kraken, these are, at least Coinbase is a registered US bank. And so using Coinbase, you can then convert that Bitcoin into US dollars, and you will have $5 US in your bank account. It's a little complicated, but if it was, as you said, if it was so easy, other people would have solved it. It is so incredibly difficult, and our tech has so many innovations in it that it's insanely difficult to explain it to people, and that's why it's my job. And that's why it's not other people's job, is because it's so complicated. It's so hard.
I guess the bottom line is, in terms of explanation for what content users will care about is that, first of all, we let them know that a platform like this exists. So they should go and check it out. Okay, so check it out, Steemit.com. The platform exists. Second, it's worth just trying it out for a while, at least for a week, just, do some experiments and see how it goes. It is possible to make money by creating content, actually, which is really good news as well. And it's, it eventually becomes a real money. So you will be rewarded for your efforts and time. And it's worth sort of seeing how it goes, because I personally know I heard about this over a year ago from Leah, who is a writer. And I remember when I met her first time online, she wasn't in her best stage of life. It wasn't a perfect place she was at. And after a while, I just saw the post she was making about these big figures of money that she was making from Steemit, because she had discovered that. And she was basically writing her content and producing content the way she always did. So it's not like she did something completely different. She did what she enjoyed, but it completely changed things around. So that's where I started sort of looking around and decided to look at it more in details and see what it's all about. It's probably now it's the only place where content creators can get value for their content. And the value is basically, put by their peer content creators. So it's not about artificial sort of algorithms that you will be looking to try to trick, or, all these different social media rules, which are changing every time. So as soon as you figure something out, it will be changing. It's just, so basically on Steemit, do I understand correct? If you figure out how it works, it will work the same way and things won't be changing for you, right?
More or less.
Are you changing algorithms and changing stuff the way Facebook does every time, or?
The platform is evolving. It's based on an open protocol, but no, I don't think it switches quite like that. And there are some internal mechanisms that help you out. So primarily that Steam power that I mentioned before. And this is the incentive for keeping your capital within the system, is that the more Steam power you accumulate from, and now you can sell your Steam power. That's part of how it works. But if you don't, it increases your influence, and there is no rule against upvoting yourself. So the more you participate, the more capital you accumulate within the system, the easier it becomes to maintain your position and improve it, because the whole system is designed to reward the people who invest the most in the platform, and the people, especially content creators.
Okay, see, there is one thing that many content creators are advised to stick to one niche and one topic they are about, usually, at least on other platforms. That's the way it is. There are many people also like me who can't really stick to one small niche, because it's like, I'm more broad and I'm doing many different things, actually. So what is the implication for Steemit in that sense? Let's say, for example, if I'm taking my example, I have a podcast which, the first 150 episodes were about writing and self-publishing. Later on, like about 50 episodes and ongoing are about brand establishment and audience growth. And also there are a bunch of fiction writings out there, and a little bit of other stuff, so live streams and stuff like that. So obviously very broad, very vague, not really niche down to one specific target. How do you think, should one pick just one and go for it, or being broad can be rewarded as well?
Being broad definitely can be rewarding. It goes back to the different dynamics that are at play within our ecosystem. So me personally, I write articles about everything from economics to cryptocurrencies to my last post was about learning that 50% of murder victims have alcohol in their system. 50% of murder perpetrators also have alcohol in their system. I thought that was really interesting, so I wrote a post about it. Made, last I checked, it was at $150. What I find is that expanding the type of content you create can help you gain a more diverse following. And I think that, the reason you have to be so consistent on other social media platforms is because you have to like claw for every single follower you get, and you have to do your best not to lose any of them, because the goal is, again, millions of followers. I mean, that's the game. That's the game of Instagram, of Twitter, of Facebook. It's millions of followers. That's anybody who says something else, I don't think really understands it. Steemit is different. People want value. And so what I would say is that it doesn't really matter whether you're broad or narrow, as much as you are adding value. And what that means to me, and the only consistent heuristic I've been able to see, is write about stuff you love. It blows my mind every time I think about it. And I've experimented with slogans about this, but on Steemit, you can make money talking about whatever you want. Whatever you want. It doesn't mean anything that comes out of your mouth is going to make money. But if you have something you're passionate about, if you have something, a hobby, a vision of the future that you wanted to attain, but didn't want to jump through all the bureaucratic hoops, Steemit is the perfect place for that.
Okay, then to wrap this up, let's say people listen to this interview, they go and check it out, and they want to become part of the thing. What are your first steps they should take, and your tips on how to start?
God, your questions are really good. You're good at this. You should definitely post more on Steemit. You'll do amazing. Inevitable. So first step is sign up. As of now, due to the restrictions that I mentioned before about the technological complications, there is a waiting period of about 24 to 48 hours. But so sign up as soon as you can so that you can be approved as soon as you can. If anybody has any trouble with that, they can find me. My username is Andrarchy. I'm sure you'll include that information. Comment on one of my posts. You can also start chatting with other Steemit users on steemit.chat. That's the URL, steemit.chat. Start interacting with people. You can also find me on there if you're having any difficulties or having any questions. In fact, I would urge any of your viewers to reach out to me somehow. I'd love to know who they are and try to give them as much help as I can. So reach out to me, start engaging. If you're, while you're waiting for your account to be approved, peruse the content. There's lots of great content on there. You might not always see it the first thing. What does trending isn't always your cup of tea, but we have tags, we have a search. Try to find what's your ballywick and start paying attention to formatting. Typically posts that have photos and have headings and have short, to the point paragraphs that are well organized, that look good, they tend to do better. And, start studying. You can, because of the value mechanisms of the ecosystem, it is entirely possible to very quickly rise through the ranks, but it's not easy. Like I said before, there's a difference between possible and easy.
Okay, so the ranks, everyone has, they start from something and then you just go up with the ranking, and that shows your weight in terms of upvote and in terms of your authority on the platform. Is that it?
Well, the more you earn on the platform, and the more of what you earn that you keep in the platform in the form of Steam power, determines your influence. Now, if you upvote yourself and you have a lot of Steam power, that'll boost your rankings. And then if you have the more followers you get and the more upvotes you get, that boosts your rankings too. So that's involved in the algorithm that determines your ranking. But it's not a cut and dry thing where like you have this rank or that rank. It's a very granular thing. Like I have
and
65.
It fluctuates, right? It's not the same all the time. It fluctuates. Your rank is changing. It's not.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Right? So, rank is not how I would put it. Like I have around 65,000 Steam power. So I have more influence in the system than somebody who has 64,000 Steam power. And I have much more influence than somebody who has 1,000. And when you start, you have basically zero. Now, that doesn't mean that your content can't do well. Like I said, that homeless lady who just posted, I do not think she had significant Steam power. She posted a good article that the right people saw. I mean, there are people on the platform who do nothing but look for low-valued, undervalued content and upvote it, because you can earn rewards being early to upvote successful content. So if you find undervalued... Okay. Yes. I try not to go into all the details, but there are basically yes. So there are 3 ways you can earn money on Steemit, and basically, and one is by posting content, one is by commenting on content, and the other is by curating content. So really, there's something for everybody. So even if you just like consuming content, which is something like 90% of social media users, there is actually a way for you to monetize that on Steemit.com. And people do. Yeah. There are people who that is now their full-time job, as far as I know.
Oh, amazing. So basically look for the gems and
Yep. And that's part of the beauty of it. And part of why it works is because the more time you spend trying to game the system, the less valuable the system becomes. So the community, the developers, everybody is constantly trying to figure. So like when you asked if the system is changing, the answer is yes, but it's always changing in the direction of trying to make it a better experience for the most valuable content creators, because the value of the underlying token is based on the value of the content. That's where it gets, that's where the money gets its value. So we're all fixated on making sure that our platform has the most valuable content.
Okay, clear. Well, thank you very much for your time. Thanks a lot for the interview. I'm sure it was useful. And guys, go and check it out. Steemit.com.
Thank you so much. Great questions. Great interview.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so that's all that I had for you today. I really hope that you enjoyed the interview. I hope that you're going to find out about Steemit and join it. As to the results that I mentioned on the interview, about 6 days passed after the recording of this interview. So now the results I'm having on Steemit are the following. I have 77 followers already. I have made about almost $400 worth of Steam currency, and I'm really getting traction and having people consume and enjoy my content. I have repurposed most of the content. I haven't created anything original yet, but I'm planning to do so. So as I said, looking forward to meet you on Steemit, steemit.com, spelled STEEMIT.com, and my username is @Annie Alexander. Looking forward to meet you there. Take care and meet you in the next episode.